Just so you
Same
know.
here.
And the good thing about this is you don't have to clap sync because I can just sync up with the mouth movements. I do want to apologize though, real quick, because I noticed I kind of have Nazi haircut right now.
Nazi haircut?
There's just a thing where like people who it's a white person thing, and you notice they have like the swooshy hair that's bent on the one side. Yes. It's kind of terrifying if you look at some people. I think Richard Spencer's a good example. Like, he's got like the flat kind of side top. You have no idea.
No, I mean I've seen him. I just that's more like I'm used to like almost like a comb over. I've seen almost like the most consistent one I've seen is almost like a full straight over from one side to the other.
I could believe that would definitely be a thing for Nazis. Yeah, the dreaded N word, not the racist one, the Nazi one. No, so you saw what I posted earlier with the Twitter thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was all just replies from the freaking thing about that TV show. Oh my god, like
Yeah.
I love being in that controversy. I love it. It's the best for me because I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm a troll. That's what I do. I mess with people. I love messing with people. That's all I do. But if I don't get to do that, I do it to people that I know in real life. I'm a dick to them. So
Yeah.
when people are in like furiously typing and just type like everything so literally and so seriously, I just treat them like they're children, and they hate it, and it makes me so happy and giddy.
Yeah. I've done it once or twice.
No.
Not gonna lie, that whole thing happened with me and No BS. Most of that I was laughing at him while he thought I was being serious.
Oh my lord, Knobs, man.
Man's a child.
I could go on for days about Knobs, guys. Like, you get the image of a conservative, and people kind of put you in a box, and they go, "This is what a conservative is," and I always go, "No, you can't stereotype people that way." I look at No BS and I'm just like, yeah, he is the box.
Yeah,
He's the face of it.
Yeah.
No, like he's the only one that I'm like, yeah, you are the stereotype everyone would look at and say you are conservative. Okay.
Man, I almost do want to go back and make a video on him, like I said I was going to, but he makes it too easy. It's not worth it.
See, I've always kind of respected Knobs because he's got the audience. Oh wow, I don't want to look at Knobs. But he's got the numbers. He's got the audience. He knows how to make a damn video. He knows what to do, but he sucks at making anything that's substantial. And his points are, haha, look how stupid this thing is. It's like, yeah, a 12-year-old can make those videos.
Well, he's really bad at arguing a point and picking the point of argument. Like, he can pick a good point of argument sometimes, but he's always bad at defending that argument.
Yeah.
And when he doesn't pick a good argument, obviously there's no good argument to make, so he can't defend a good argument because there's no good argument to make.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
The whole thing between Turkey Tom and him and everybody, that was insane. Like, almost all of it was him just deflecting and trying to say, oh, that's a joke. That was not serious. But it was like if you went back and look, like he claimed that they were trying to get him deplatformed by getting him to say the N-word, which it was clear that it was all a joke, right?
Yeah.
But then if you go back, you could find in the last 5 months or so before that situation, he had done 2 or 3 videos where he says the word multiple times.
Yeah.
Where's your logic?
See, I really don't understand the whole power behind the word thing and people getting so angsty that somebody says it. Because, like, yeah, we get it. It's got the racist connotation, but, I mean, even freaking people like Dave Chappelle have made it very clear. Louis C.K., as much as everyone hates him, it's like, it's not saying the word that's bad, it's the context. And I'm like, could you just chill the fuck out?
Yeah,
but
I mean, I get to a certain extent what the concern is, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, it's... At the same time, there are people that are saying the word for reasons that are negative, and other people that are just saying the word. But I mean, I guess
Well, I
they
mean
still know the
specifically.
meaning of the word.
No, I mean specifically for like the commentator guys, like the kids of YouTube who are all like, this is this dirty evil word,
Oh,
we're gonna
yeah,
trick people, we're gonna get them, we're gonna get you and expose you for the Twitter moments so I can boost my own ego, like those types of people.
yeah,
Like normal people, I totally understand. I'm like people on Twitter. It's like there's nothing. There's no power. There's no anything behind that word. In real life, yeah, you talk to somebody down the street, say anything mean to them, they'll punch you in the face. But on Twitter or on YouTube or any of that crap,
yeah,
who gives a crap? Nobody cares.
yeah.
But that's I don't know. People have. I think it's just people with their finger on the pulse, just being like, when are you gonna fuck up? When are you gonna fuck? You gonna fuck up today?
That's part of it. It's definitely part of it. People are always looking out for somebody to be mad at.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of being mad at, the Oreos video. I'm. So I have my opinions, but you've kind of told me yours, but I want to start off with you because we briefly talked about it, but I wanted to hear your in-depth arguments for it.
I wish I would have rewatched it again yesterday. I watched it twice last weekend. um, I will say that I think Tommy and Nick made a bigger deal about the whole situation in general. But two things are clear. Keem definitely crossed the line. Some of those guys definitely seemed too okay with it, like going along with it based on what I saw in that video. Some of the guys seemed like they were joking around a little bit too much and too happy about going along with it. But I mean, it's so easy when you're online in a group of guys just talking to get wrapped up in whatever is going on.
Yeah.
I've done it. Everybody at some point has gotten wrapped up in conversation and took something further than they should have. It's easy to happen, especially when it's online. But, if you got to own up to it, in my opinion. And I'll admit, I got a little out of hand during the whole no BS thing. But the biggest thing I think is not even the video itself necessarily, but what Keem said in the Augie stream before the video went up. Why should you be able to be anonymous online? Why should you be able to be? Why should you not have your personal information out there? That's basically what he said. And then he acted like, because he's been swatted before, and it's okay. Nothing happened to me. Like, people don't die from swattings.
Yeah.
There's many, many reasons that people would want to stay anonymous online. And there's no reason. If you don't have to show anyone your ID when you're walking down the street, then you shouldn't have to show anybody your personal information online.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actual drama alerts where he's talked about people being doxxed. I think even the Post Malone situation when Jake Paul accidentally, or shouldn't say accidentally because he did it on purpose, vlogged Post Malone's house. Keemstar reported it as him doxing Post Malone because he showed his address, and then said it's an invasion of privacy. But all of a sudden now, who cares about doxing?
Yeah, that level of two-sidedness only ever comes into play when it's pants around the ankles. I've noticed. Because
so you think it was a save myself type thing?
No, not even save myself. Just like, oh, you're taking it too seriously. It's you listen to the Baited podcast, and that's the same thing he'll do there. It's like, I get why you could make that argument, but you 5-10 minutes ago were arguing against it in the very same episode. Why are you disagreeing with your own self?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Well, with the swatting part in particular, it's just one of those things where it's like, does this just come with the territory now? Is this just what you, being a YouTuber, have to do now? Is just call your police department and be like, look, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be here 99.9% of the time. It's gonna be BS, and I'm just gonna set it up the way that Keem does. If somebody calls it in, just do a drive-by, make sure it's not legit, and we'll be done. Because that just feels like the territory it's coming with. And if that's what, like, Diorio or any of those guys want to portray, is that, like, oh, this isn't normal. I feel like playing devil's advocate here, it kind of is the territory now. And so I don't disagree with Keem on that point, but yeah, to sit there and pretend like, oh no, because I did it, it's not wrong, it's still fucking wrong.
Yeah, no, exactly. About the whole being part of the territory thing, though, I definitely think that you're right to a certain extent. It's a matter of the public eye because regular, like mainstream celebrities have been swatted too now. It's not exclusive to just online personalities, so it's like anybody. So it's definitely a part of. Well, I'll just say fame, even though it doesn't. You don't have to be famous. I could get swatted tomorrow because somebody finds my IP because I streamed to Minecraft or something.
Yeah.
But the thing that I kind of worry about a little bit is how do they stop it? The only thing I could think of that they could do to stop it would be like, well, if anyone gets swatted, they're on the hook for the cost of the waste of our funds and our time, which would definitely deter a lot of people from doing things online.
Swatting somebody, if you without the honest intention, calling a police report, that's like 2 or 3 felonies right there.
Well, no, it is, but I just mean that like there's not really a way that they can stop swattings from happening, besides people just deciding to stop, because it's not like they can. It's not like they can institute something where I guess they could just. No, because no matter what they would do, even if the government like instituted something where everybody in the U.S. has to have a VPN, well then people would find ways around it somehow.
So
like it's gonna happen.
One of the biggest things to do would be call sourcing. Literally just go, okay, well, whenever somebody's making a call and they're saying these certain words and phrases in Discord chat, maybe we record that and we carry that over and send it to the police if need be. That could be considered a huge invasion of privacy, but for the most part, I think it is, yeah. Like that's really the best opportunity you would be literally to just straight up be like, okay, well, we're looking for certain words and phrases in the software that people are using, and that's it. And that's not even really deterring somebody from using their phone. But that's the thing is, I think phone companies are definitely like, okay, well, if your phone is going out and calling a police department, they just have to go, what was the phone number that called us? Oh, look, there you go. So no. I think the only real counter is to just integrate it into the softwares that people are using to call, and that flat chance in how that happens, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know. It's scary because there's so many different ways that they can word things. So it's not even like you can institute a code where like if the person's calling, ask them for a verification code. So like it's not like I can call a police station and say, hey, I do YouTube, somebody might swat me. Okay, well here's a password. If there's ever an issue, we'll call you and you give us this password. Because if it's not me that makes the call, or if there's actually a situation or whatever, like there's a lot of different ways that could go that would get around a simple system like that, which just I don't know how they could really deter it. That's why I'm saying that I worry a little bit that eventually maybe they'll come down with some kind of super strict policy where it enforces it forces the people that are really the victims to just not put themselves in harm's way. That's the thing that kind of worries me, because you shouldn't be in harm's way just because you put a video online.
I disagree.
You shouldn't
with
be in
you.
that
I
kind
gotta
of harm's
disagree 100% here, because this is the type of shit I argue with people all the time. Okay, is it fair to claim ignorance every time? Is it fair to say I stepped in dog poop because who would poop on what person would let their dog poop on the sidewalk and not clear it out? It's like, I said you bear that responsibility of knowing your surroundings. If you're checking your surroundings and you're seeing people are being hostile, or there's like a drama or a trend thing that happened, I don't think it's unfair to say any adult shouldn't be responsible for taking care of their own shit. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable to sit there and say, you need to be proactive and think forward, because that's like something like think about the thought audit. Everyone's sitting there and just going, oh, look, these people aren't paying their taxes. And it's like, yeah, any adult is supposed to know that you have to pay your fucking taxes on the earned income. If you're working in
Yeah.
an environment where somebody might have the possibility of nabbing your IP, well, first thing to do is don't put your goddamn IP out there. So use proper safety with that. And the number one way that people usually get your IP is you're clicking stupid links you know you shouldn't be clicking, or you're using unsecure, unprotected like software. Like Skype for the longest time was just a dirty haven of just nabbing people's IPs.
Yeah.
But Discord, I think now is the one that I think Discord you can't grab somebody's IP just from using it. It's only when you do like a file transfer is when somebody has to have an IP trace, and that's what I'm saying. It's like just knowing these things, and then okay, this is what I'm gonna do for that. So what's the next thing to do? Okay, scammers. Okay, what do I do when I get a scam email? Okay, well I have to look at the email address. I have to look at the source of like what the image is. I have to see if it's like a phishing link or anything like that.
See, but there's a certain amount of common sense you can know with that stuff. Yeah, like what's like no, like you got to know to check your email and things like that. But I'm saying what I'm saying is because you upload a video to YouTube shouldn't make you possibly a victim of physical violence or a physical threat.
Well, not necessarily that it makes you the free target, but I'm saying is that comes with the territory. When you notice, okay, I'm starting to get eyeballs on me, and therefore, if I'm getting...
But that's what I'm saying is it doesn't always just happen to people that get eyeballs on them. You get people that are small that get swatted too.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not even doubting that, but I would say the amount of that is insignificant, comparable to, like, bigger individuals, but when it comes to, like, nobodies, I'd say the most kind of relevant part is just kind of realizing where somebody might have attacked you. Like, I had somebody call my house one time and just be like, hey, just so you know, your information was on the internet. I don't know who it was. I have no idea. I just know my father came into the room and was like, yeah, somebody called saying that they know your shit or they know our phone number. Obviously, they called it. And the only thing I could do was go, okay, well, change his phone number, change address if I could at the time, which I couldn't. But for the most part, like, all I had to do was just change my attitude and be like, okay, well, maybe I won't be as aggressive. Maybe I'll change the platform I'm using. Like, there's things you can do after the fact. The big thing that, yeah, obviously I can't necessarily dispute on this end is that, yeah, I can't stop the first swatting. I can't stop the first time that it happens. The only thing I can say is that once you're exposed to that, you should kind of have the ability, you should have the responsibility to do it yourself. And I think somebody like Destiny specifically, too, would be like, yeah, you've got a big audience, you've got a big following. I think you would have expected this at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's something like swatting is so extreme that I don't think that's a comes with the territory type of thing. I guess we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that. I don't know.
Sorry.
Because that's yeah, I don't know.
No,
I don't feel like that's like an acceptable casualty type of thing.
No, I don't necessarily agree with it in saying that it's just like, oh yeah, you know, the 13-year-old sitting there, she decided to play Call of Duty for the first time and then getting swatted. Yeah, I mean, it's not right. But it happens. The next thing to do is go, okay, well, I have to correct the behavior. I also partially think it's due to the police kind of... Now, I'm not going to be too controversial here, but I was like, I've always thought, I was like, if you have a whole SWAT team going to some location without properly scouting it out first, you're kind of got a crappy police department. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the police, you know, aren't doing their job. I'm just saying is that the amount of incidents we saw, I would say even like 2 or 3 years ago, where police were going full force SWAT tactical gear, it's like, okay, I got a feeling you maybe read the situation a little wrong. I think even they could do a little better on it too.
Well, I think until swatting became an actual thing, I don't think they really had to worry about that stuff. So at the time, it's understandable that they would have done that a little bit more because if you're talking about like every year, the report statistically out of every report you get, you know, we'll say out of 1,000 reports, 2 are fake. But the rest of those reports were very time sensitive. Like they didn't want to risk. Like say it's a hostage situation, right? You don't want to be looking around, peeking through windows, and get spotted, and then they kill the hostages. Or,
yeah,
obviously that would be a stupid move to kill hostages, but you never know how stupid somebody is if they're taking somebody hostage.
I would say obviously that's more for the professionals to more go into specifics about. I'm just saying, in modern years specifically. Like,
Now, yes, that's why I'm saying like originally it was such a new concept that I don't think there was any precedent for having fake SWAT fake situations where the SWAT became necessary
well, not
in
entirely.
the alleged situation.
I mean, I would say like bomb threats were becoming a huge thing. Maybe 20 years ago, that was like a big thing with the whole schools, is that they had to close down because they were like, oh, somebody called in a bomb threat or a gas threat or whatever threat. So they've kind of had the preemptiveness to that, I would say, since the 90s. Now granted, going into person's home is different, but that's kind of been there for a long while, I'd say.
The type of threat is also a little bit different too. Like usually it's just like, okay, well, we got to get everybody to evacuate the school. So they do that every time now. There's still no, they haven't changed procedure really. It's still get everyone out of the school.
Yeah.
Don't risk it. So when it comes to swattings, there's a little bit more they can do by like scoping out the situation a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't think those are totally comparable because it's a very different situation when it comes to how they have to address it, because there's an actual, usually with a swatting there is a threat of combatancy or a hostage situation or something. When it comes to the bomb situation, it's like, okay, well, we just got to get everybody away from the bombs.
Right. Well, let's go back to where we started from this. We veered a little heavily, just a little bit.
Yeah, good point.
But no, yeah, the double speak is brutal, but in terms of that, I'm like, that's the most egregious offense, I think. But what were your other spicy takes from it, though? Or was that just it?
I mean, that's it for the most part. I mean, like I said, Keem definitely crossed the line by going so hard. I mean, I think a lot of people are saying that they don't understand why Nick would say that he's changing his narrative the whole time. He definitely was changing his narrative the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't think that it was the 3,000 subscribers. I think it was the credibility Keem thinks he has that he was trying to protect, because he accused him of being a pedophile, basically, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he was worried about the 3,000 subscribers. That's easy enough for him to get back. He lost more with the whole iDubbbz thing and came back from that with no problem. I think the real issue for him was the fact that he seemingly accused him as a joke, but then Keem, everybody knows he's got an ego, didn't want to admit that he screwed up, right? Because it's a huge situation. He screwed up multiple times before, shouldn't say accidentally, falsely, because he actually believed it with people like Basher and the RuneScape guy. I think that it was just that. I think it was that he got ahead of himself, made a joke that he portrayed as being serious, then didn't want to take it back. And that's why he was like so hard on trying to prove it. Because the 3,000 subscribers thing seems like... Yeah, he said he was pissed about that. Yeah, he admitted he was pissed about that, but I don't think him admitting he's pissed about that means that it was justified. Means that that's why he did all that.
No, I'm gonna throw a little bone out there for Diorio if he does happen to watch this. No, Keem is bored. I'm gonna not necessarily say
that's
wrong,
for sure,
but literally, there's a mastermind at play, and it's a shitty comparison, but there's a Lex Luthor complex that goes on in Keem's head, which is, if I kill the Superman, I am the best. I mean, we don't need somebody who's above me. I am the best. I have the best idea, all right? But at the end of the day, he's still got like evil intention. So Keem sits there day in and day out and goes, I got a news team that finds all of my stories and all of my sources, and if anybody causes any drama that I actually give a damn about, they'll probably DM me 3 days before it actually happens, because none of the shit's real. And so I basically go to work for an hour and a half a day. I have to edit my videos, and those aren't that hard to do. Not easy, but it's not hard. And I end up walking away with $100,000 every time I upload. $10,000 every time I upload. I'm bored. Like, you can only work for so little time and make so much money before you go, I need something to entertain me. Because when Internet Bloodsports started, Think about how fast Keem jumped on that.
Mm-hmm.
Think about when these late night shows started popping up after the fact. How fast has Keem been on it? The drama that's been going on between him and Tommy C. How long has that been going on? The fucking drama between him and other commentators back during the Call of Duty days. Not much that's going on because most of them made amends, but that's still going on. The shit with Wings of Redemption. Like, the list does not end. So Keem's got the equivalent of a little chart here that says, okay, Bash Reverse pissed me off, Wings pissed me off. You know what? I haven't fucked with Destiny today. I'm going to go to Twitch and fuck with Destiny. Like, and that's as close to what I can compare it to. Now, the fucked up part about having a Lex Luthor on YouTube is the fact that he's got money. Like, if Keem's got to drop, several $1,000s to apologize to a guy he falsely accused of pedo, well, he walks away at the end of the day unsued. Like, that's just kind of...
And probably still making a profit, yeah.
Yeah. If he gets to dox Just Destiny and just pretend that, because I got a feeling he would have just made somebody else leak the docs and then said, people were saying, and just reported on it anyway.
Yeah, well, I think Nick. Well, sorry, no, I shouldn't say Nick, because I think it was Augie's stream. I heard somebody say that there was a rumor that Keem had sent the information they got to Cobra. I know I heard somebody say that Keem had sent it to Cobra, but it wasn't verified that that's actually what happened. But if that's what happened, it's almost like he tried to pull another Aiden Projects.
And that's
send
the big
him
thing
info.
is
Say, hey,
if they're
here
all
you go.
sitting in,
do something.
If they're all sitting in Discord and chatting up this whole time, I don't doubt it for a bit, because and for the record, I do blame NCO for a good chunk of this too, but
you're talking about that specific group again, right? Like the same one. That
the people who
Tommy's talking about.
participated.
Yeah.
Like at the very least,
apparently,
I don't know.
Apparently, there was just a little conversation in the main group.
Like, I don't know who was in NCO overall, but I think they committed the fatal flaw of too many cooks in the kitchen, in this case, too many children in a group chat. But the second somebody sat there and said, I can gain clout by bringing Keem in, or working with Keem, or staying up at 4 a.m. and talking with Keem, you're a moron, and you deserve to take the downfall as well, along with him, whatever the non-downfall there would be from that.
Yeah.
Because, like, just imagine somebody gets a hold of every little piece of information, and now you have to deal with nonstop calls, the swatting, theoretically. Like, you have to stop everything you're doing in life to address the situation.
No.
Do you want to do that to somebody else? You're just as equal to blame, in my opinion. You did it for clout. And those are people that I don't give a shit as much about. Now, in how Tro handled the situation, I'm going to be very careful with the way I say this one. I'm really upset that he didn't see this coming earlier, but at the same time, I am amazed, like, fully, that you could talk with every other YouTube commentator on this platform. Almost every single one of you, and myself included, is going to say practically the same thing. Keem's an alright guy, you just don't want to be in his line of sight. You don't want to be in the bad spot, because he'll do whatever he can to fuck you up, in whatever way you can take that. And so, if you have a group chat dedicated to, and the way that Diorio says this, I don't fully believe it, but dedicated to being like an uprising, like bringing YouTube creators like kind of up without the help of other like big creators.
Well, it was just a community. That's all it was. It was networking.
Okay. Well, like I don't know. That was the way Diorio said it, and I'm like, that didn't sound quite right.
Yeah, Tommy actually talked about on one of the streams after that he didn't. I think that they were. I think Tommy was added to it later. I'm not positive, because I know of a lot of the people that are in NCO. Like I mean, there's a lot of people that I know you said you don't know, but like for instance, like James Marriott's in there, Nerd City's in there, I think Willie Mac's in there. It's like such a weird mashup of who's in there.
Right.
but it's like all the commentators that have popped off over the last year or so.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if Alex is probably in there. I don't know for sure.
But coming back to it though, here's the problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
You have too many underage people in a group chat. It will devolve. I have never been in a group chat with people who were underneath the age of 18 or 16 with 3 or more members that did not turn into either depraved bullshit like posting porn nudes or like people they got in their phones. Like, it always devolves to that, to doxing or attacking other people, to straight up insulting, some cases racism. It never lasts. And I think you had a classic case of just too many of those.
Like I said, I don't know the full list either, but all the members of NCO that I know of are either late teens or already over the age. There's only 2 of them that I can think of. Like I said, without having the list of people that I can look at of commentators that I heard this one's in that, but I don't think there's only one that I can think of that I heard was in NCO that was underage. And I don't even know if he was. But I mean, like there's group chats all over the place that are primarily used for networking. And from my understanding, that's what the NCO was. It was a networking thing where, like, these are all the commentators that are kind of starting to gain traction right now, and they all talk on Twitter already. So let's get ourselves all on a Twitter group and talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Like, talk about YouTube stuff and all that. And it was just a networking thing. I'd never heard anything different, aside from some rumors that have been going around because of all this stuff. But, I mean, without actually knowing what happened in there on a day-to-day basis, yeah, who knows, I guess.
Well, like, usually it's just bullshit banter back and forth, but my argument just simply comes down to it will devolve. Because, like, you usually will get, in that case, I would say that narcissism, that edge. Like, because that was a big thing that I kept fucking railing into people. I kept getting into conversations with, like, other creators. It's just, they're sharing audiences. We're all sitting here in this group chat, and we're all promoting one another. We're all Reddit bumping each other. But at the end of the day, you realize you're only strong as your strongest member, and your weakest member isn't going to be shit unless you promote them. And that's not good. That's not quality. You're not doing anything. The only thing you're doing is sucking each other off in a circle jerk, saying, look how great we are. And now, granted, that's not necessarily, I don't think, the case here, but that's usually what it turns into, my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I think if you were arrogant enough to participate in a doxing thing with Keem, you were starting to get that wave of that bullshit, that idea that, oh, okay, maybe I'm hot shit, maybe I can roll with the big boys now. Not really. Working with some of these big creators, man, you gotta treat them like they're nothing. I'm telling you, man. I've been in conversations with 100K people, and they're like, they've got this mindset of like business. It's all numbers. It's like, I gotta focus on this. I can't be fucking around. I can't be doing drama. I'm trying to build this empire. I gotta do it. Somebody at 4 million's like, I'm famous. What do you want from me? Like, yeah, you're shit. You're making 10% what you could make. And they sit there and they go, oh, you're not riding my asshole right now? Oh, wow. And there's the line between there. There's a really fine one. And I think that's what the NCO kind of represents with this particular situation. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll get off of that. But with Tro specifically, I know you were talking with him for a moment, but what was your opinion on him being involved in the first place?
Well, from everything I've seen and everything I've heard, he seems like he feels like he just let things get out of hand. I don't. I'm not like that well connected to him. I just, I DM'd him just to.
Well, yeah, I know.
Say whatever, but yeah, like it was like if you watched the Augie stream where he was on, you could hear it. Either he was extremely tired, extremely drunk, or he actually was upset, and he seemed like he was upset. And from what he's been saying on Twitter and stuff about like going through a rough time and stuff, even before this like really broke down, if I remember right, I think he's just going through a rough time right now. I don't know what was going on at the time either. If I remember right, he had like exams and stuff going on during that period of time, so he might have been less inclined to do something. One thing I thought maybe had been going on was maybe they were like, because I know there's one thing that stuck out was, and everybody's kind of focused on with in regards to what Tro said in the DMs in the Nick video and all that, and that was the part about not wanting Keem's video to fail, right? But that was after the interview, after Keem had already screwed up the interview where he basically called him a pedo with no evidence.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually said this, but I would understand if maybe he hasn't, because it sounds like an excuse. I don't want to make an excuse for him, but I wonder if some of the mentality was, he already screwed this up once. Maybe if we're working with him, we can keep him from screwing it up again. That was my thought, but there's no evidence that that's what was actually going on.
No, that's actually a really interesting take, in my opinion.
I mean, because that would have been my thought if he had been in my vicinity after that. Would have been, okay, is there any way we can get him to keep his hot head out of the oven? Can we get him to cool it?
Yeah, I'll definitely say, I thinking about that, I gotta agree. I'm like, that's interesting.
And if that was the context of what he meant by fail, not necessarily I don't want him to not take JD down, but I don't want him to screw it up again. If that was the context, then I could see it totally, because that even fits more in line with Tro's personality from what I've seen in conversations and stuff like that. He doesn't seem like a malicious guy ever, and I've never heard anyone say anything about him being a malicious guy in any way. But for him to like specifically want Destiny gone, like if that was the mentality behind it, that doesn't seem like him whatsoever.
No,
but the context of that message that everybody seems to have is, I don't want Keem's video to fail. You know what I mean? It's like that's the way I perceive it anyway. Maybe it's not how they're actually portraying it, but that's how it comes off to me when they say it.
See, because one of the things that I did was I watched Diorio's video first, and then I watched Augie's stream after the fact, and Augie's stream was like 6 days before or something like that.
Yeah.
It completely changed, like the way what you just said, complete 180 from like the impression that I got. The impression that I got from watching Augie's stream after was that, no, this is me preempting the video because I don't know what's about to happen. That was what I got from that, but you talking about that makes me go, yeah, that does lend more credence to that idea.
What was Tro's interview on Augie's stream before or after? I thought Tro's interview was after.
It was before. It was like 5 or 6 days before it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of like,
because I was thinking of the stream that Nick and Keem were on. I haven't been able to watch the full Tro interview one yet.
Well, it really does change the tone. And if it wasn't for Augie's stream, I wouldn't have anything to say. I would just be like, yeah, Tro, he messed up. He got a little too involved. He let Keem in. Keem did his thing, whatever. But with that stream, if you listen to his tone just sits there and says to me, I'm trying to apologize without saying I'm at fault, but I'll give you the little nugget of being like, I'm a little at fault, and that's it. Like, trying to cut it off there, because following the video, I haven't seen him tweet a response. I don't think he's making any posts on YouTube. I don't even know if he's really addressed it, because I'm not blaming him. I'm not holding him accountable, but I do think he kind of had a hand to play in letting that happen, because, like, if I recall correctly, it's been a couple days so I haven't watched Diorio's video, was Keem was kind of hot-headed right now in the moment when him and JD were going back and forth, and he was kind of like messaging a bunch of creators being like, hey, get on the call with me right now so we can take this guy down. And I think if that was, because I can't remember quite well, if that was what happened, I think that's why I have such a problem with that particular aspect of Tro letting him in. Now, I might be misremembering that, but that's the impression that I got watching the stream after the fact, was that Keem was pissed off, so Tro was just like, yeah, let's take him down because I'm not really focused on or anything like that. And then when he realizes he fucked up, he goes on Augie's stream and tries to basically preempt by saying, I was tired, or I'm not at fault. And that was the impression I got.
I feel like we should have preempted this entire conversation with the fact that we're talking about, what is it, like 5 hours worth of content that we have that has taken, that all this has been coming out over, because you had at least 5 hours, because you also had like all these other side streams aside from Augie's stream with Tro, Augie's stream with Nick and Keemstar, and then Nick's video, and then he had a bunch of all these little side things that have happened. But those are like the main three
Right.
sources of information for all this. But it's like 2 hours, and I think it was 50 minutes. So we're talking almost 5 hours just for what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of information to try and retain. So that's why we're kind of iffy on some of the stuff. But like
It was definitely a lot.
and that's the thing, is I think given that so much stuff was going on during those events, because like we're just seeing just the calls and messages about this, right? From my understanding, this all took place in a matter of hours.
Really?
I could be wrong, but I mean, like they're talking about like just the texts and everything. I don't like. Tommy on his stream was talking about how there was like, it was like February 12th and February 13th or something like that he was talking to Tro about it. He was talking to him throughout the night, so he was talking from nighttime into extremely early AM in DMs about stuff.
Right.
I believe it took place in a matter of just, a few hours, but I don't think I've seen like a full timeline of when Keem enters the chat and when everything happens. I don't think I've actually seen like any kind of timeline for how long it took for all this stuff to happen. But it seems like most of the focus is on the actual call that they had, and not necessarily just them talking in DMs about stuff.
Yeah, I think for the most part, we don't really know, but kind of the scummy thing about YouTubers is that they always record shit when nobody's really thinking about it. But I think
to an extent, it's a matter of that, what you were talking about earlier, though, being safe.
No, I'm not.
You got to take your precautions nowadays.
I'm saying, like, as time has gone by, it's become increasingly more necessary. I remember just when the whole Sargon and Kraut thing happened. Like, I just remember, like, when they were playing the audio, Kraut was literally recording. The second that Sargon joins to basically, like, curse out Kraut, he's like, just for the record, I'm recording this. What the fuck are you doing? like, it was just... And so it's totally warranted, in my opinion, nowadays.
Yeah.
But when you get comfortable with somebody, you tend to let your guard down. So I'm inclined to think there were many other days involved after the fact. Not many. Because, after a while you get bored, topics change, and you drop the subject.
Yeah.
But...
Well, actually, you know what? I'm curious. I'm going to look up when the actual Destiny interview was.
That interview, man, that was a really weird interview.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, like, I only watched it the first time when it came out, but I just sat there the entire time just being like, this dude's guilty. That was the impression that I got. Because
it was stupid.
You've heard the story before. You hear the person that you assume is automatically a pedophile. They come on stream and they try to defend themselves, and you're just like, yeah, you're blowing smuck up her ass. We get it. You like looking at underage pics. But when you re-listen to it, it's like, well, you could kind of understand the arguments of being like, no, these are just pictures and they're just thumbnails and it's clickbait. Like you can understand that argument when you re-listen to it, but when you're stuck in that moment, you just put the blinders on. Oh, he's got the ped. He's the pedal. He's the ringleader. The pedals. It's just
okay. So Sorry, not go ahead.
No, that's just the impression I got.
The Drama Alert interview with Destiny came out on February 10th, and he always uploads at night, so it was at night. It was at night that happened. So if the conversations between Tommy and Tro were on February, I think it was either February 11th and February 12th, or February 12th and February 13th. That's still only because you got to figure it takes like what, a day before your analytics are gonna your social blade and all is gonna show any change.
Right.
So you figure Keem wouldn't have known about any drop off until probably the end of February 11th.
Okay.
So that means it was maybe like a 24-hour period that this stuff all took place in, if I'm understanding the timeline right. Imagine one person having a busy day and not checking their DMs that day because they're busy.
Yeah.
It happens. Especially like Marriott. Marriott, during that period of time, I know Marriott came out on Twitter, actually called Tommy out because he felt like he was putting too much emphasis on NCO the whole time. And Tommy agreed. He put way too much emphasis on the NCO because so many of them were not involved or active in the chat during the whole conversation.
Okay.
Because Marriott apparently didn't even know it all happened.
Okay. Yeah, that does change up context, yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's one thing I think is important. If it happened in the matter of a few hours or even one day, I don't know. I mean, with Tro specifically, I could understand if it was only a matter of like 3 hours or 4 hours or something like that, between when Keem enters the chat and Tommy immediately goes to, dude, get him out of the chat, get him out of there now, like that kind of thing. I could understand maybe why Tro would have been like, well, he's only been, we just added him. Give him a minute type of thing. You know what I mean? I can understand that mentality a little bit.
It's always kind of funny.
I don't know.
Keem just insists
I don't know
on
what
going
happened
to
at all.
Discord. Get out of the group chat at Twitter where everyone knows what I'm actually saying and come over to me in a voice chat where more likely than not people don't know what I'm saying. I've had that happen to me a million times. Keem calls me up. He's like, get on Skype right now. I was like, oh, okay, fuck, sorry, shit. Like, I have to apologize because I got a phone call from Keem being like, get on Skype. I was like, sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to be on Skype right now. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So I totally understand that.
I was DDoSed once with Skype. I will never use Skype.
Yeah, it's dog shit.
I don't care what opportunity I'm missing out on. Not risking it.
You know what I was really astounded didn't take off was a freaking raid call. That had a pretty good market, had a good opportunity, and just never took off. And it was pretty secure.
There was a couple. There was Razer Comms too.
Oh yeah.
That one went belly up pretty quick actually. My friends and I used that at one point back in the Minecraft days.
Yeah, if League didn't decide to get their fucking panties in a wad about that, Razer Comms would have been around for a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of cool too because it was. I mean, it almost felt like video game oriented.
Yeah.
Like Discord feels like it's just a chat room type of thing, but that one actually felt almost like because the way it was laid out and the design of it all felt almost like hackery or something.
Yeah. No, I gotta say overall I'm happier with Discord coming out because I hate any platform that has a monopoly. And Skype just had this fucking stranglehold over everyone's nuts, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, when am I getting hacked? When am I getting hacked? That's all I've ever felt when I'm using Skype is that somebody's going to come in because now I got people who are popular on my Skype. I need to get the fuck out ASAP. Yeah. And so I'm happier with Discord.
Yeah, there's only one person I have Skype for actually, and that's because they don't do anything else. They're not connected to anything concerning or anything like that. So I've got absolutely no concern with that. So I don't even have, it's like not even related to YouTube or anything like that. And so it should never even be, there should be no reason for me to ever worry about that actually ending up public or anything like that by accident. But
I deleted mine and I kind of realized I fucked up. You might laugh at this. So I didn't know how to save bookmarks for Firefox. So I would just basically send each individual URL through Skype. And then I realized, oh wait, I could do like mass exports of these. And let me just say, there are certain bookmarks that I have that you don't want other family members to notice about. But it's real fucking awkward when Skype automatically pulled up those thumbnail images. I'm just scrolling through Skype one day and just be like... Nothing.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, if I ever have any, if I ever have any links to anything, I'm like, I don't. This is for a video or whatever. I don't want this in my search history, like, or in my bookmarks or anything. I just copy it and I put it in like a Google Doc or something,
Oh man.
and then I just like keep a list of links. I don't like using bookmarks. I really want to, but the last time I spent a little while using bookmarks a lot, and they ended up just getting really messy.
You know what I was astounded by? It's kind of related. Was that one guy who got busted for CP? Because did you ever hear about the story? It was a Twitch streamer. He was literally typing in his file directory, looking up something like video file, and then in the particular like word he was typing was a link to a very common term like CP or something like that, and it was a whole fucking thing. You ever hear about this story?
No, I didn't hear
Oh
about
my
that.
god, it was crazy because literally it was the equivalent of somebody typing the word video. That takes 0.2 seconds to type. Somebody was able to pause at that exact moment when the screen throws up the thing and find the video file and be like, huh, that seems like an odd name for a file. And then go and look it up into some database. And then, like, I think, like, not even a few minutes later, they were, like, in the guy's chat being like, hey, what's the deal with this file name here? And it was a whole thing. And that's why I'm like, bookmarks are kind of, like, I'm terrified in that regard because, you know, I just got to type in the word big and big black cock appears or something like that. And that's the last thing I'm fucking, like, trying to show to somebody else on a stream is like, oh, great, now there's...
Incognito mode.
No. You assert your dominance by doing everything publicly.
I'll be honest. I actually use incognito mode all the time when I'm recording videos and stuff. Like when I was doing those Amazon videos, I would do that because you know how Amazon shows your information. I'm too lazy to log in and log out, so I just use incognito mode because you're not logged in.
I hate ads. I can't stand ads, so I don't like moving my ad blocker for anything. But I prefer Chrome for the most part in that aspect because you can kind of. That's why I tell people I'm like, don't touch my Firefox because that has all my like my info, like my logins and all that crap that I need, the cookies that are set up, all the directories. But if you want to use my computer, use Internet Explorer. That's the clean shit. That's the has no login information, nothing. And now I'm sitting.
I actually did the same thing at one point because my wife and I were both doing different types of YouTube videos, and so we didn't have to use the same email and all that. We both owned our own things. I just logged her in on like Internet Explorer or something else. It wasn't Firefox. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, I just logged her in on something else and I used Chrome. It's a nice feature to have, especially if you like run 2 Twitter accounts or something. Because on PC you can only log into one at a time. Oh, it's a godsend.
Yeah, no, it makes life a lot easier. Can't stand Chrome overall though. Shit is a resource hog. Have you used the Brave browser yet? Completely interesting shit here. But no, the Brave browser looks pretty cool. Got to get that cryptocurrency going.
I'll check it out.
But no, to go back to the topic, I would kind of like to finish off on one particular thing, which is like Nerd City saying, hey, this is a bad idea, and him trying to distance himself. I kind of find that funny that he was the one who did that and nobody else did that, like James Marriott or possibly I'm Alex types in there. Because my question is that, well, the reason I bring up specifically Nerd City is, why hasn't anyone who has worked with Keem or had feuds with Keem in the past, why did none of them jump in first sign and go jump ship now and like bounce out of the chat or give people shit for inviting Keem or any of that stuff? Like,
there wasn't enough screenshots of the chat, I don't think, for us to know. I know they said that Nerd City and there was at least one other person they mentioned had said it was a bad idea besides Tommy and Nick. But I don't remember them mentioning who else had said anything about that.
But that's what I mean, is like, you get people who have had any level of interaction that was negative, they'll generally hold a grudge. They don't forget. So I'm just kind of astounded that people who have not had grudges or interactions with Keem were the first ones to say, yeah, we should probably not do this one. This ain't it, Chief. Like, now Tommy's sitting there saying like, yeah, no, don't do this, don't do this. That was expected, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. You listen to that video from Tom and you can't help but think it's like, are you really doing this because you're looking out for people's well intention? Or are you doing this because you've worked with Keem and you're afraid of what he can do and you want to stir the pot more for more like drama to keep the channel going, get the donations in? So that's kind of the impression I get from that, because nobody makes a 2.5 minute long Twitter video warning you about something unless they got that kind of secret motive behind it.
Well,
in my opinion,
here's one theory. Tommy might be a little bit worried about things like, think about like when Keem accidentally falsely accused 2 different people of being pedos, among a bunch of other false accusations he ended up making. Demonetization and all that stuff was not a huge issue yet. If he made that issue now, if he did that now, where he started his whole crusade against somebody falsely, would something happen to the platform because Keem was trying to police the internet? And releasing all this false information? Would something happen with content like that? I'm not saying that's where he's coming from. I'm not sure I haven't heard him say, aside from, like you said, I mean, against Keem. It could just be the whole grudge thing. I don't think it is, but I don't know. I don't know any of them personally well enough to know what's just for show, what is this grudge, what is like some kind of behind the scenes bet going on. Who knows?
See,
but
I mean,
that's one thing that I see as being a possible concern.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever really heard drama alert referenced in news articles, so for that part, I think we're fine.
There was at least one. There was at least once, because remember he was responsible for getting the Swatistic arrested.
The one guy,
the guy that got a guy killed.
Oh yeah, I'm talking kind of before.
They apparently
that.
only found him. Well, that's what I'm saying though. Back then, it wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
Back before that, like that's what I'm saying is back then it wasn't a big deal because mainstream media wasn't really paying attention. They actually kind of gave the cold shoulder to new media, but now they have to pay attention to mainstream to new media. So if the internet's #1 news source, I still don't understand how he can call himself that. I mean, how often is what he reports on actually news and not just like somebody's Twitter? Most of the time it's kind of pointless stuff, and half the time...
Yeah, the second he turned to reporting on celebrities, I was out.
Yeah, and the other thing I have a problem with is the fact that for you to be a reliable news source, don't you have to have credibility? And hasn't he kind of destroyed his credibility multiple times?
No, I don't think he has.
You don't think things like the Basherverse situation destroyed his credibility?
Especially not the Basherverse. That would be my least of all of them.
How?
Because
he called him a pedo and accused him of raping a girl underage, and neither one was true.
Okay, the raping one, yes, but here's the problem: you have to extrapolate information, and when nobody is giving you information, you only have information to assume based off of. So if you get a guy, Basher, who has a sexual offense record on him, and you can't get a hold of the guy, you don't have any information to go off of. So you extrapolate, okay, what is the severity of sexual harassment or sexual misconduct with a minor? You can only go so far in trying to extrapolate from that data. So if you get Sky Does Minecraft goes, yeah, I did a background on Basher and it came up with the minor thing, and then Keem goes, okay, well, the only information I have is a police report and what Sky says to me. You make the information up from there as best as you can. The raping part...
That's tabloid work. That's not news. That's tabloid work.
Well, yeah, I don't necessarily think that would be wrong to say. I'll put it that way.
Well, how many tabloids do you think have credibility?
A lot.
Because usually they imply a lot of stuff without any actual evidence.
Well, that's the idea.
And
is
they
that-
write it, and they write it, and they write it in a way that they can kind of get away with it. Even though in Basher's situation, I think technically Basher would have had a case for slander because Keem flat out said these things without evidence.
So, did he specifically say the raping part? Because that one I don't remember.
I can't remember how far he got with the raping one. I know he heavily implied it, but I can't remember if he actually accused him of it or if he just asked him about it. But he did accuse him of being a pedophile.
Yes, but that's he was in that instance. He literally was charged with sexual misconduct with a minor. That there is a police report that states.
Right? No, I know, but he was accused of it, but wasn't he? Weren't the charges dropped because they ended up not?
He was given a no
ended up
contact
just, like-
order. That much I remember. That's the
Right,
only thing.
but he never. There was never, as far as I remember, he was never actually like he was never put on a sexual offender registry or anything.
I think he
because-
was.
There was no contact. There was a whole bunch of other issues. I don't know.
I have to look it up now.
I don't know. It was years ago.
Yeah. No,
But anyway, either way,
no.
though,
I think
he went
Basher's the
so
worst.
far out of his way with minimal evidence, and at the time there was no. The only concern was, well, he's making content that kids watch.
Right. No, that
But
definitely would be.
The only charge against him was like, I think it was a decade ago at that point.
Roughly, yeah, it was roughly a while ago.
So at that point, I feel like it was okay. I feel like that's a little bit. I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit too much of a stretch, you know. Given the crusade he went on against it.
See, I gotta disagree because of Claire Baby Legs. I don't think it's unfair, nor necessarily slanderous or libelous, to sit there and say, okay, well, you've got a charge that says you have had sexual misconduct with a minor, and now here you are again with somebody who's underage, who you're not dating, according to the both of you, but you're oddly close together. And you put two and two together and go, well, this is a bad thing, and this is also not a bad thing, but it's towing a line really deep there, or really close there. It's just like saying, it's like you got the stick of fuse in the dynamite. You're just waiting for it to light.
Right, but a lot of questionable things doesn't equal. You must be doing this. You must be doing this. You must be doing this.
No,
that's what I'm saying. He came out so aggressively against it because he was so sure of it.
Well,
and from what you said, it almost sounded like, well, how else do you get the information besides accusing him of it and wait for him to respond?
No, I think he contacted first, but anybody at that time would probably go, I'm not going to tell you the dirty information. I'm not going to sit there because you're a nobody. That's what everyone thought back then. Drama Alert had 600,000 subs or whatever. I'm not going to pay attention to you. Like, you're nothing. So, nobody's going to try to self-incriminate or do anything like that. Like, I was astounded that frickin' Red Kiwis decided to even go on there for the most part. Like, why would you self-incriminate yourself? And therefore, if you have no first-hand sources, and you have a first-hand source that told you, well, in this case, Sky does Minecraft, that's what you have the information to go off of. So, in a sense, you do have a first-hand source. You do have somebody that said, yes, this is what I found, here's the information, but nothing else. I mean, now, something like the one guy, the Tommy whatever, or what was his name? The old guy on
The RuneScape guy.
yeah,
That's all I know him
RS
as.
Glory and whatever, I forget his name. Like, yeah, that entire situation is more damning to credibility, but he's able to play that off by saying, well, that wasn't me, that was my reporters, and I fired him. And even though I don't think they get paid much, they get paid a little bit.
I don't know.
What I'm saying is, like, in short, the simplest way to say it is, there was a piece of information here that said, this guy was charged with something, let's go after him on this. Whereas Just Destiny is like, we don't have shit. We got nothing. But we're going to go on a 5 times worse crusade because he wronged me. He made me look bad in my interview. I'm getting back at him. So, in terms of credibility, yeah, I mean, there's like 1,010,000 arguments. I haven't watched a lot of Drama Alert in the last year because I I can't stand when he covers the celebrity stuff. I don't give a shit. And so I may have missed quite a bit in the last year or two. But for the most part, I think when there's a story that involves something of like a heavy accusation, there's at least an effort put there. Now, you made the argument of being news versus tabloid. Oh, God, yeah, the name is Drama Alert. It's tabloid. He calls it news, it's tabloid. Everyone knows that, in my opinion. But kind of coming back to this one, I don't know. I think it's just him looking for an excuse to be like, please let me stop doing this dog shit job. I hate doing this because there's nothing interesting going on. He's just doing it for the money, I think, now.
See, I don't know. I don't get that theory. I don't get why you wouldn't just stop instead of trying to get somebody to expose you and ruin your career if you ever wanted to do it again.
If you're making $150,000 a month doing 40 hours of work a month, are you going to stop that gravy train? You're going to use that to fund other shit. That's what he does.
But wait, but if he wants somebody to give him a reason to stop doing it, like, I don't understand that.
Well, like, he doesn't want to do it. Like, it's every year or two, there's always just this thing going on where it's like, oh, I'm not motivated, I'm not interested in doing this, or this is boring, or if somebody starts some drama, or I got dry month, or whichever month it is of the year where it's like there's nothing going on.
Okay, I guess I misunderstood you. So what you're saying is he's trying to make it interesting for himself. It's not that he's...
But if he could quit Drama Alert tomorrow, make the same amount of money doing nothing, and like, basically, remember when he was hiring in guest hosts to guest host the show? He probably would do that. If he could trust somebody to not fuck him over and just pay them pennies on the dollar and basically run Drama Alert with no penalization to the money that comes in, he'd do it. I'm almost certain of it. He'd take that money, he'd go start a business, he'd go be a fucking rock star or some shit like that. And to go after somebody like Just Destiny not going to be around. Just Destiny's going to fucking flop in a year when the trend shifts and he's still trying to do TikTok exposed videos. Like,
I think technically he already has kind of died off the internet because his Twitch streams do terrible, last I heard.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, he's small fry. He's not somebody in there for the long term. So, Keem going after him is a way to entertain himself now in the moment. He fucked up. He really fucked up, in my opinion. And that's nothing. He's just went, okay, well, I lost like 1,000 subs. Oh no. I guess I'm just going to have to keep going until another grade A versus Leafy situation, in which case I'll just try to survive that one because that's more interesting than doing what I'm doing now.
See, I don't think just because he's bored, I don't think it gives him the right to like try and find this, secret information that no one has. It almost felt like he was like, this is my thin reason to dig as deep into this guy as possible. To try and find anything to get him on.
See, you're looking for reason. That's the problem. There doesn't need to be a reason.
No. The reason is him being bored and looking for a reason to report on him.
Yeah.
His reason is finding a reason. Because he's bored. If he doesn't have anything to do, what does he do? Find somebody to talk about. There's nobody to talk about, so I create something to talk about. How? By finding the smallest thing I can find, the most insignificant thing I can find, even, that is worth talking about this guy.
Yeah, for the most part, I can.
And the best thing he had at the time to do was say, this is what I think is going on. So let's look into this. And then hope something else unearths.
Not quite. It's more so like, well, I had this bad interview. People are bringing it up. I had what was the name of the guy, the hacker guy? I forget. The one that everyone is like, don't talk to this dude. Viper?
Oh, Zoom.
Zoom, thank you. Like, he's talking with Zoom, and therefore, Zoom's putting ideas in his head, and he just is following that breadcrumb trails to be like, I'm going to stir some shit up right now. So, kind of in part, I'm also putting the blame on Zoom to an extent, but I don't know what that conversation entailed, so I could be entirely fucking wrong here. It's all speculation.
Yeah, I have a hard time going down that road, though, only because Keem is known to be the guy that leads people down a bad path.
Yeah.
I have a hard time seeing Keem get manipulated by somebody, even somebody like Zoom. As insane and ridiculous as Zoom seems to be able to be, I don't know. I have a hard time.
Look, I've been around those guys in the NTSGW, the political sphere, the right-leaning YouTube, as everyone likes to call it. It doesn't take much. It really doesn't. You just have to give those people a fucking a snail trail of blood, and they will fucking sniff it out from 8 miles away. They go for it. That's what they do. They need to stir some shit up, because once they realize that the SJW pool is dwindling, like less people are reporting on the stupid things that they do, they had to find something else, and they just went for the throat of anybody else. Like, look at even mundane Matt, like somebody who was well respected in the community to start. Like he had that beginning where it was like, oh yeah, this is our guy. He was fighting against Anita or whoever, whichever one of the Gamergate bitches. Like he was our guy. But then you realize the rhetoric changed. And then you found there was one thing he did wrong, and everyone went for it. And then he did another thing wrong, everyone goes for it. You could be in the good graces of everyone, and you will fucking be a target. And that's the type of shit that, like, these groups congregate, not necessarily saying it's all of them, but it's most of them. And Keem saw that that's where that happens, and he fucking jumped on it. So you get somebody like Diorio, you get somebody like whoever was the guy who exposed Crowd. I'm blanking on the name now, of course, all of a sudden. Like, these are people who go in there and go, no, this is pretty fucked up that this is happening. I'm about to blow the whistle on this. And I'm just, it's like, it's just kind of like, it's not like it's anything new. I'm saying it's been around forever. It just only ever shifts focus a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I think Diorio blowing the whistle on this is nice. That's kind of what I want to finish off on. It's a nothing burger at the end of the day, is that it's going to be, okay, well, NCO hates me. What's the next upcoming YouTube community that I could prop up? My bet is you're going to see Keem be like, all right, I'm going to find the new wave of YouTubers. I don't know, like TikTok reactionary people. I'm going to get in their good graces. I'm going to promote them on Drama Alert. I'm going to make them blow up. I'm going to give them that bump like I helped with Cavos, because Cavos don't listen to me anymore. I'm going to give them that bump. They're going to like me. And then when some shit goes down or I'm bored of this shit, I'm going to fuck with them. We're going to congregate. We're going to do the same shit over. I'm calling it now, because this is the same shit that's been going on since 2009.
Yeah. Yeah, in summary for me, I wanted to say, like, basically, like I said, I think most of what they said about Keem, from my, like, 45 steps removed, seems accurate from everything I've seen from Keem. When it comes to the NCO guys, when somebody like Keem jumps into a chat, I could see it easily. I could see if he's not, like, harassing guys in there or like bullying them or whatever you want to call it. I could see how if he's, like, trying to get them involved, maybe it would be easy to get sucked into that, right? Yeah. Especially when there's something like everybody's pissed because this guy sent a false flag against somebody technically from the community, even though it was a much smaller member of the community. So I could see from even Tro why it'd be easy to get sucked into that. I don't fault them as much, because it is so easy to get sucked into that kind of thing, especially with somebody like Keem, who does have that ability to talk. He can talk a good game for or against something. But I mean, for the most part, I agree. Like, in general, the whole situation, I mean, I'd say it's telling more about Keem, but I don't think it's the groundbreaking thing everybody acted like it was going to be.
And if I didn't clarify specifically, I feel like I didn't actually say. I don't fault anybody in NCO except for the ones who were helping him throughout the way. Those are the only ones that I would sit down and be like, you are a retard. I'm going to straight up call you that. I'm going to sit you down like a dad and be like, all right, pull your pants down. No, I'm not going to molest you. I'm going to spank you. You deserve it right now.
Especially since that timeline seems so short that everything seems to have happened during.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to imagine, especially if he goes in there and just, like, starts kicking up dirt, and everybody gets lost in the cloud. Makes it easy to understand why some people would have gotten caught up in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm with you there. I definitely don't really fault anybody in the NCO, especially because, like, you know, if it's in one day, I mean, there's plenty of times where I go a day without checking group chats, and I'm only in like 3 of them. I can only imagine how many somebody like Marriott's in.
No, I exist solely on online. So if you don't respond to me in 2 hours, I'm offended.
I exist only on MySpace.
Hey. MySpace, when it made the comeback, was a fucking pretty nice website. People were all
And then it
pissed.
died again.
Yeah, it deserved that death. That second time around was just like, we don't even fucking care. We have 2 employees here. Who cares?
It almost seemed like it was just for music promotional purposes.
Yeah. But on that note, I will say the following episodes will most likely be live. We'll see how that goes. So what I think we'll end up doing is we'll just end up doing a live show, kind of like what everyone else is doing. Stupid, but whatever. And then when we actually do have guests on, we'll probably just more record them. We'll probably just take them and be like, okay, we're going to construct these and slim these down because fuck, I can't stand these 6-hour-long conversations with people. Who has time to sit through that? Respect my goddamn time, people.
I will say Dave is pretty good, at least about like keeping it to like an hour normally of conversation and like an hour of questions and calls.
Yeah, 100%.
There are a couple times he goes a little further, but for the most part, he's good. He's really good at keeping that timely.
And then also, I'm gonna take these episodes and we're gonna rip the audio from the live stream and I'm gonna upload them to audio platforms. So you don't even gotta watch them. You don't even gotta do it on YouTube. If you don't have YouTube Red or Premium, whatever the fuck it's called nowadays, you can just listen to them. Perfectly fine. So I'll have all that information in the description down below. So if anybody's interested, check it out. Anything to say on that note, the outro?
Not much. I got a video coming out tomorrow, but that'll be out probably like a day or two before this.
Bitch. You and your making videos.
Hey, it's not even the good one I'm working on. I had a couple of news stories I thought I could make some funny jokes about, so I decided to talk about them and then tack the PewDiePie thing on the end, which ended up being serious, so I'm going to end a comedy video with a serious topic. But then, like, next week, I'm hoping to have my video about Steejo out. Oh, he's such a moron. Oh, I love it. He's an idiot.
I haven't been paying attention. I have to check into that one.
Oh, you need to watch. You should watch his first video on his channel. Like, the first one that you see going down his feed that is not gaming content. The guy is an absolute moron. He tries to paint a video as an attack on them that is very clearly just talking about a rumor. And you can tell by the way he cuts it, because he doesn't know how to edit, that he's cutting it to make it sound like something it's not. And then continues to talk about it.
Awesome.
Like it's a completely different type of content.
I'm excited now. I have to look into this. I love Windows Movie Maker Editor too. It makes my videos look so good.